I feel everybody should really understand this. When a bee makes a honeycomb like this, you know, it's got 5 little sides like a perfect octagon, and they make it out of wax, and they store their honey in there, and there's a little bit of bee pollen in, and you know, into the honey, and propolis as well. And you know, you should be consuming honey products this way in its natural form. People will tell me, you eat the wax? I say, yes, I do. And the wax is a super antioxidant absorbent. The wax goes into your digestive tract, and it's like this little sticky sponge that picks up fungus and bacteria and all kinds of problems in there, and it sticks it to it, and basically it goes out of your body. And it's a cleansing agent that is like free, comes with the hive, you know. The honey, the bee makes it. You don't have to do any work, just have to consume it. And it's the best way to eat honey. I eat a little piece of this, about half a teaspoon type thing, every day. Then I eat some bee pollen, about half a teaspoon every day, and I eat a piece of propolis about the size of a blueberry here every day. In the morning, basically, after I've eaten some pumpkin seeds and some sunflower seeds and a few different herbs and stuff that I have growing outside, I start my breakfast out like that in the morning. And this is digestive enzymes. That's what bee pollen is. It's every mineral and vitamin known to man, and I've seen lists by people that have studied bee pollen and what's in it, that there's over 1,000 ingredients and probably another 300 they have no clue of. But the bees are here for our benefit. They propagate the flowers. It's been estimated by a research scientist in the United States that if the bees disappeared, 85% of the food we know right now on the earth would disappear for sure.
Days, yeah.
Within a few months, it would be all gone.
Bee pollen is one of the best sources of B vitamins and protein.
Yeah, but there's no B12 in it, but everything else pretty well. The one thing too that was done research in Russia that I was very interested in. They took Olympic athletes, men and women, and they fed them a tablespoon of bee pollen and water every day for 1 year, and that's all they lived on. They didn't lose a pound, gain a pound. They were totally healthy, totally fit.
That's all they ate?
That's all they ate.
No food? No
food, nothing else, just bee pollen. 1 tablespoon a day. And Russia has done some amazing nutritional experiments. If you get to meet some old Russian doctors that were old school over there, they know all kinds of plants and medicine. Your maple syrup, we talked about the maple tree outside. Here it is preserved in a jar, you know, ready to use. As long as it stays in the jar, you'll have no problem with anything. Once you open the jar, leave it in the fridge in a cool place. This is one of the highest sources of magnesium on the earth is maple syrup. Maple keys, maple flowers, anything the maple tree produces. Blueberries. You can see my wife here is cleaning them up. I don't know where you put your little thing. I just want to show people this here too. So when I pick blueberries, I pick with a picker that I created. And the leaves I tend to keep because I make blueberry leaf tea. And we'll keep the green ones and the red ones that aren't ripe. We'll leave them in there. And we dry some blue ones sometimes to throw in as well. I'll show you better tomorrow. But I also put this little fern plant throughout the basket. I pick handfuls of it and throw it in the bottom. And this is sweet fern. This is a medicinal plant from Northern Ontario. It grows all over northeastern Canada, basically from Manitoba border to Labrador, Newfoundland. I don't know if it grows in PEI, but all the northern parts of Canada. And it's a very sacred plant in native tradition. It was used for healing of the gums, ulcers, bleeding conditions, and this plant kind of saved my life. The Creator made it for me too, because when I started drinking this as a tea, my bleeding from my bowels stopped. My colitis, Crohn's, bowel cancer, whatever I had, or a combination of all three, disappeared. My health became healthy, and I still, after 10 years, drink 5 days a week. I have a little program, or my brain thinks this way, that you shouldn't be consuming everything continuously. Even I've done some experiments like that where I continue to use something for day in, day out for maybe even a year to see what it'll do to me or not do to me. I'm a walking experiment, unfortunately, and fortunately for that as well. So this I continuously drink, and I've experimented with it fully. Sweet Fern, I think, is a valuable resource.
Is that the actual name?
Yes, that's not the Latin name, but that's the common name, Sweet Fern.
So you can Google it and
you probably can. There is a few places, I believe, that sell the tea. I do as well. If somebody wants to send me an email and they want to buy some, I could probably sell it to them because I harvest it fresh and I dry it myself, so you'll know it's real natural. And basically a tablespoon of this will make 3 cups of tea pretty strong. You'll see a film like an oil slick in there, and we'll show this tomorrow as well. We'll actually make a cup of tea that me and Marcus will both consume, and you'll get to know the flavor and the taste of it. It's very nice, very good for the health. I've used it with lots of people with all kinds of conditions internally, and they've had amazing results from it. I went to blueberry farms and picked them. There's no comparison to this. When you eat this, you forget everything else. This is the Cadillac, the Rolls Royce, the Jaguar, the Elite. To me, this blueberry quality you can't buy in any store. And these blueberries are over a week old, and you can still see how nice and firm looking they are. And the reason is because I put the Sweet Fern in the basket. And Sweet Fern has historically been used by native culture to preserve blueberries and fruit. Well, I notice when I eat blueberries that are commercially grown with it. And I had an experience one day of actually proving that out, that I forgot a basket of blueberries in the back of my little Volkswagen Jetta at that time when I was driving it. And when I got to my mother's house a week later, noticing every day that my car smelled like blueberries because of the heat, it was hot in the car, windows rolled up, it always smelled like blueberries when I got in. I thought it was just because I'd been picking them. So when I went picking blueberries the second time, the second weekend, when I was putting them in the car, I discovered this other basket of blueberries. And I brought them in the house, showed my mother, and she couldn't tell the difference between the week-old and the ones I just picked. And when I got home and showed my wife and my children, my 2 daughters, nobody could tell me which basket I picked the week earlier or which basket was just freshly picked the day before. So what it was written about in old books, I proved out. The Sweet Fern does help preserve blueberries. And I do believe this little fern wood branch plant does help preserve life as well. It has essential oils in it that are very high in quality. Now you got to tell me, if that doesn't look good to your eyes, there's got to be something wrong with you, visually impaired. But you know, bee pollen and the yogurt, you know, the kefir, and a little few blueberries and to make it look artful, you know, and we got fresh blueberries with some maple syrup. And I'll tell you, you just have no idea how good this tastes. So you'll have to come and see me personally to try it.